I am continuing my reading, and what I'm doing in this series is I'm reading through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I'm reading in a chronological order according to events, not according to publication, and so I will be skipping around a little bit as I move along. I am currently in Exodus. My previous video was the first half of chapter 23. This video will continue chapter 23. We will begin in, well, I'm going to go step back one verse to verse 19 because there is one comment I forgot to make in my previous video and I want to make it here. Just a brief comment. So let us read verse 19. It says, the first of the first fruits of thy land thou shalt bring into the house of the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not seethe a kid in his mother's milk. So the first of the first fruits, of course, being the first harvest. There were multiple times where you would harvest over the course of about a month. But the first harvest, that's the first fruit, the first of the first fruits are given to the Lord. To seethe a kid in his mother's milk, I believe that we had this in a previous video, but I just wanted to mention it again, that to seethe means to boil. So I believe they talked about it during the time of the Exodus. It said don't seethe the meat. You have to roast the meat. This is saying don't seethe a kid in his mother's milk. The reason for this is that it was a pagan fertility ritual. Fertility cult practices of the time to sacrifice the kid or the lamb, whatever, and you would boil it in its mother's milk as a kind of fertility rite. The idea being that the mother's milk is what gives life to the child, and so if we boil it in the mother's milk, we will give this power of life to other things. I don't, the exact details I'm not sure on exactly, but it's the idea of it's supposed to make your land more fertile, doing sacrifices in this way, and God's saying don't do it. Is there anything inherently wrong in doing this? Probably not, but he gave this command so that the Israelites would not be imitating the pagan cults of the Canaanites that they would be living among. He's saying don't copy them. There's a number of times where God gives laws here to the Israelites that are meant to say, don't copy the Canaanites. The reason for it is that if you start copying them, you may start accepting their worship and start worshiping their gods, which the Israelites do eventually do, which is why God is saying, keep your own traditions, keep your own culture, do not mingle it with their culture, or you will be in trouble. It's not that it's inherently evil, but it will lead to wickedness. So I wanted to mention those. It may come up in another video. I think it does mention it a couple of times in the scriptures. So, sorry. So now, the rest of chapter 23. This will start verse 20. Behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto thine enemies, and an adversary unto thine adversaries. For mine angel shall go before thee, and bring thee in unto the Amorites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Canaanites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off. Thou shalt not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do after their works, but thou shalt utterly overthrow them, and quite break down their images. And ye shall serve the Lord your God, and he shall bless thy bread and thy water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of thee. Now these are some great blessings if the Israelites are faithful in doing what is being commanded. The angel of the Lord goes before them. Now, we don't really get too much about this angel until we get to the book of Joshua, where an angel actually appears to Joshua and tells him how to defeat Jericho. But then again, the Israelites were not all that faithful wandering through the wilderness, so they may have not been found worthy of actually having this angel that they were promised if they were faithful. In addition, we have this overthrow all the Canaanites. It says, bless thy bread and thy water and take sickness away. Now, this didn't happen. There was still sickness. But again, were the people as faithful as they could have been? This kind of a promise is not given to an individual for their faithfulness. It's given to a nation for the nation's faithfulness. And if the nation as a whole is not living up to this standard, then they don't get the blessing. And that's what we see. Were there righteous men? There were many righteous men and women, many men and women of great faith. But the nation as a whole did not have sufficient faith to obtain this blessing. Verse 26, there shall nothing cast their young, nor be barren in thy land. The number of thy days I will fulfill. I will send my fear before thee, and will destroy all the people to whom thou shalt come. And I will make all thine enemies turn their backs unto thee. And I will send hornets before thee, which shall drive out the Hivite, and the Canaanite, and the Hittite from before thee. I will not drive them out from before thee in 1 year, lest the land become desolate, and the beasts of the field multiply against thee. But little and little I will drive them out from before thee, until thou be increased and inherit the land. And I will set thy bounds from the Red Sea even unto the sea of the Philistines, and from the desert unto the river. For I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and thou shalt drive them out before thee. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin against me. For if thou serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto you. A couple of things here. So we continue with these blessings. But again, blessings for the nation, not for individuals. But I do like this. 2 things. It will drive them out slowly. Not in 1 year, lest the land be... There weren't enough Israelites to populate the entire land. And so if the Canaanites are driven out in 1 year, there will be too much land. The Israelites will not be able to settle it, will not be able to cultivate it, and the wild animals will come and fill it, because there will be a void there. And so he said, no, you got to do this little at a time. But you have to keep doing it. You have to keep driving them out. As long as you are constantly working to drive them out, they will flee before you, and you will get the land. But you can't be adopting their gods. You can't be worshiping anybody but me. Now, also look at the area that they are promised. The Red Sea, even unto the sea of the Philistines. And then the desert to the river. Now, the desert to the river means the Sinai to the Euphrates. The Sinai Desert to the Euphrates River. That's north to south. Now, Red Sea, even unto the sea of the Philistines. I'm not exactly sure which sea it would be considered the Sea of the Philistines. But I think it's talking about the Dead Sea and or the Sea of Galilee. In the footnotes, it says Reed Sea. Now that could also mean the Mediterranean, but the Mediterranean is usually just referred to as the sea in the Bible. But this could be because the Philistines, as we will see, the Philistines actually lived along the coast of the Mediterranean, so it would make more sense for it to be the Mediterranean Sea. But this is giving us a general layout of the area that would be given to Israel. And we'll leave it there and see what is in the next chapter in the next video.